So here's my thoughts on Moon Knight Episode 1, Season 1. We start off with Steven trying to, live his everyday life as I guess a snack seller at a museum. But we learn a little bit of some of the Egyptian culture, history behind that. And, but we'll see, like a typical Marvel hero, which is great. His life is not the best. But then things start to unravel. He's chained himself to the bed to make sure he doesn't escape because he's dealing with a multi personality disorder, I believe is what's called. But anyway, all of a sudden he wakes up in this whole new town, and people shooting at him and trying to basically get this gold egg-looking thing. And we meet what's his name, the actor, I can't remember his name right now, but we meet him, the villain of the series, and we also get the slow reveal of Mark, which is the Moon Knight that we know to love. And of course there's another personality, but I think we kind of got a hint of that earlier on, but we probably won't see that until towards the end of the series or season. Oscar Isaac did a beautiful, great job as Steven, or Moon Knight, and when they finally revealed Moon Knight and his whole face and his reaction to the whole thing, him being chased by some demon dog, and I know there's a name of it, and I can't remember it, but him actually giving in and working with his other mental personality, this side of him, and I think we'll start to see that going forward, but I feel like the other ones are going to be way more harder to work with. But overall, I loved how towards the end they kind of, he lets the other side of him basically save him and protect him from imminent death by a demon dog. I actually really loved this episode really much. I think we haven't had a show since maybe Loki, and maybe not WandaVision, but like Loki and really, Loki was the only one who had the first episode be really great going into the show, and this is definitely a really great episode going into the show, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do next week and the whole season going forward. Please excuse me if I don't know much about the Moon Knight character. I really know some things about his multi personality disorder, and other than that, but I haven't read much of the Moon Knight comics, but I definitely want to check them out now after watching this. I give it a rating of an 8.5 out of 10. And that's my review on the Moon Knight. So here's my review on Moon Knight Episode 2. So this episode picks up the morning after Episode 1, where Mark Spector shows up and, turns into the Moon Knight's outfit or costume. To save get him and Peter out of a situation after that, I guess, demon dog was coming after them, and so it picks up to where we starting to see the Mark and Peter personalities kind of really develop some sort of connection or relationship where they haven't had before. There was always a wall, but now that wall is kind of gone now. They kind of are now more of, communicating in a way, in a sense, trying to understand each other, but also having a hard time understanding each other and working together. And I feel like when it came down to the end of the episode where they're fighting off the demon dog, and Peter gets into the other suit, the outfit, the suit. Forgive me, I'm not much into the Moon Knight comics. I mean, I haven't read much of it, but I know the difference between the suits and all. I know there's even a third. I believe there is a third personality that hasn't been out yet, because they actually hint at that in the episode, saying that the dominant personality is kind of becoming stronger, so that's why their other personalities are coming together and starting to notice each other, which isn't well known. Forgive me, I don't remember her name, but the wife, or I guess soon to be ex-wife, if it plays out the way it is, Mark Spector. I really liked her in this, and I liked I don't know. I felt like there was a connection between her and Peter's personality, and I feel like maybe they can do something with that. But I know there's a history with the Mark Spector. I like how we get into much of the lore behind Moon Knight and Khonshu and everything about that, and how I like how Khonshu is kind of like this Venom and Eddie kind of like from the movie, kind of in his ear kind of esque relationship in a way for not just Peter but also Mark. The action was great, and I tell you, when Moon Knight showed up again in his full outfit, kicking the demon dog's ass, like, dude, that was just amazing. It felt like it could have been like a audience cheer in the theater when he showed up. It was that moment when I realized, like, this is what we've been waiting for. This is the Moon Knight that we've been waiting for so long on live action. I love this episode. I would give it a solid 8.2 out of 10. Tell me what you think. So here's my little review on Moon Knight episode 3. I'm sorry I didn't get to y'all yesterday when it was released, or I think it was Wednesday. This week has been super busy, but here's my little review on episode 3 of Moon Knight. So basically, the thing about this episode I really love is how we get more of the Steven and Mark working together, kind of, like there's this part in this episode where, I believe Mark had to give over to Steven to use the map to find what they're looking for, trying to get there and trying to discover I can't remember the name of it, forgive me, but trying to get there before Arthur gets a hold of it and basically unleashes the goddess, what's her name, but trying to unleash her, keep her from being unleashed, and fighting off Arthur. And then you get the whole gods coming together in a pyramid, and and kind of seeing how arrogant and not all of them, like there's this one goddess, I can't remember her name, but I'm forgetting names here today, but her helping like Mark get to trying to keep Arthur from discovering the goddess, I can't remember her name, but so overall though, the action was great. I love the introduction of Midnight, but the actor who played him, I believe he passed away, so rest in peace to him. But man, the Moon Knight, man, the suit, man, the whole cape and everything, I just love the look of it, the way he fights, just the brutality of it, and how he kept getting stabbed with the spears and trying to fight off Midnight's men and trying to grab some of the map that's what's left, and and Layla, I believe her name is, I think there's some sort of like, maybe she's interested in Steven more than Mark now, even though her and Mark are kind of in a going through a divorce situation. But overall, I really loved this episode. The score was great. Super hyped to see what the third person they are teasing. I know the name. I know there's a name for the third personality. I can't remember. Again, I'm kind of in the middle of doing something right now, so I can't remember the name. But overall, I really love this episode. I have to give it a 8.3 out of 10. Okay, so let's talk about Moon Knight episode 4. I really enjoyed this episode. It felt like a Tomb Raider meets Uncharted meets Indiana Jones. I like how we got more of Steven in this episode and a little bit of Mark. Also, the kiss was kind of awkward, but kind of like sincerely awkward. Like, I liked the kiss between him and the actress, I can't remember her name, but you see her on the screen. I love this Indiana Jones feel and adventure. Also, let's talk about the ending though. So the ending is like 100% like almost like the 2016 run of the Spencer run with Moon Knight. At first, when I saw when the TV showed up, when they were coming back with the camera, I was like, oh shit, they're going for it. This episode 100% left me wanting for more, and I cannot wait for next week's episode. Definitely 8.8 out of 10. So here are my thoughts and review of Moon Knight episode 5. So before I go any further, I just want to say this whole episode for me really struck a chord for me, because growing up with a very
abusive person in my life, in my childhood, in a very abusive environment. Seeing Mark's mother, or Steven and Mark's mother, do what she did, which led to Steven being Steven being manifested at being like a coping mechanism, switching to a whole other personality to escape. That he was inspired by a character from a movie, and thus getting, Steven. And, we kind of learned that Mark is kind of the original person. I don't know when we're going to get the other dude, but the other personality, the third personality, but I don't know if that'll even show up. But anyway, I think this episode was 100% needed to fill in the blanks. Also, I know there's a lot they had to wrap up in the last episode, but I feel like it can be done if done right. But, this whole episode really was getting to the core of the character Mark, and learning, understanding the emotional part, how much impact his whole life has had, going through trauma and stress and abuse and all that stuff. And eventually, the one thing I loved about this episode, I want to say this real quick. Through all of the things we've seen, losing his blaming himself over his brother's death, and his mother being abusive, and having a hard life growing up, never having a mother very supportive, and a father not kind of being there either, and to later on him becoming a mercenary and killing people, and because he thinks he's a killer, because he thinks he killed his brother. But the thing that really was tragic, and kind of reminded me of the whole Darth Vader Anakin tragedy of how Anakin becomes Darth Vader, is when he meets Khonshu on his last dying breath on the stairs, and he becomes Moon Knight. It's something about that, seeing him just rise up and manifesting into this Moon Knight, that all the pain, all the suffering, all the trauma led to this moment and brought about the Moon Knight. And then he carried out so many killings and punishing, being a vigilante. And I love that about this episode. I definitely give this a 9 out of 10 for me. I really loved this episode. I truly recommend it. I can't wait for episode 6. So here's my Moon Knight episode 6 review. Man, I felt like this was not the best episode, but I feel like, it kind of was very, I don't know, it just felt very simple of an ending. Like, the biggest thing I take away from this episode, that I'm glad that we finally got to have somewhat of a reveal of Jake. Killing Ethan Hawke's character, but we've been teased throughout the season that Jake, this personality, and even the comics, he's a taxi driver, but in the show he's more like the 60s Bond, bloodthirsty kind of guy, anti-hero, if you will, doing whatever Khonshu. We learned that Khonshu really wanted Jake's personality, not Steven or Mark's personality. That's why he was so easy to let them go in a way, and just keep Jake's personality, which was pretty cool. I think Layla's character was pretty cool. I do feel like her, I do like how she didn't let Khonshu take control of her, even though she did end up getting not control, but being a host for another goddess. But I do feel like she learned her powers too quick to have those powers and learn them so quick. I felt it was like one of those Captain Marvel situations where Captain Marvel was, getting more OP, and then automatically she knows how to use these new powers that she just inherited again. Same thing with this. I just felt like it was just too quick for the plot. It was too convenient for the plot, and I feel like that was kind of lazy in a way. And I don't know why they had to make Moon Knight turn him into Superman for some reason, having him flying. I get it, but for me, I feel like when the show was announced, I was kind of hoping, I wasn't hoping for a Daredevil bloody kind of show or Punisher, but I was at least hoping for some sort of, I mean, I like what they did for the most part for this whole, well, I guess just the series, a limited series alone. But I feel like it didn't live up to, not live up. I mean, it's a different Moon Knight, and we finally starting to get the actual Moon Knight that everyone's been wanting to have. But I know we might get a season 2, maybe or maybe not. I'm not sure if it's confirmed or not. But if we don't, hopefully maybe a Midnight Suns show or movie. Hopefully. I give it a rating of a 7.7 out of 10. And the show, I would give a solid 8 out of 10. Thank you for watching.